This is Gane, a golf-obsessed gremlin who just picked up a club and started violating physics. Kid swings like a god, terrifies pros, and treats golf like it's Dragon Ball with grass. The anime opens with a lady in the woods regretting all her life's choices. Instead of taking the bus like a normal human being, she decided to take a hike through the woods, which ultimately leaves her with a broken bridge, and now she's stuck in the middle of nowhere. Just as she's rethinking all the dumb decisions she's made in life, a child walks in like he does not give a care in the world. She takes one look at him, and for some reason, decides he must be foreign. Naturally, she greets him in English, expecting some kind of language barrier. The kid just laughs and casually tells her he's Japanese. After laughing at her like a normal child would, she knocks him on the head out of frustration. With all that's left of her dignity, she asks if he can take her to an inn. The boy, Gane, agrees, and they set off on what should be a simple journey through the forest. But nah, it was not that simple. This little goblin leads her across a log that looks like it could snap in half at any moment. While she's struggling not to plummet to her doom, Gane is just tiptoed along like it's a paved sidewalk. Things only get worse when they start climbing uphill. The lady is wheezing for dear life, while Gane just casually carries her heavy golf bag like it weighs nothing. She finally asks why he isn't out of breath, and he drops the most ridiculous flex of all time. He's been squatting his entire life. This child has been training like a powerlifter since birth, and she's only just realizing that she's traveling with a tiny muscle monster. Once they finally reach the inn, she shows him her golf clubs, which mildly intrigue him, but he's more interested in his usual pastime, playing baseball with his friends. As she watches them from a distance, she suddenly decides to make a grand entrance. She steps up, grabs her club, and smacks a golf ball so far into the sky that it might have entered another dimension. The kids, including Gane, are left in complete awe. Gane, whose entire existence revolves around being the #1 in the world in hitting things to the farthest, immediately decides that golf might be the greatest thing he's ever seen. A few moments ago, he was convinced he wanted to be the best baseball hitter. But now, forget baseball. He's all in on golf. Gane demands a turn, but things don't go as smoothly as he expected. He takes the club, swings with all his might, and completely misses the ball, like the ball was using some Itachi-style jutsu on him. He misses the ball repeatedly. It's painful to watch. He looks like a blindfolded toddler trying to hit a piñata. The lady, holding back her laughter, tells him to keep his eyes on the ball until impact. He takes her advice, readjusts, and swings again. This time, the ball soars through the air with the force of a missile. The lady is left standing there, her brain barely able to process what just happened. She asks him what his secret is, and instead of giving a normal answer, Gane decides to show her. He takes her into the woods, picks up an axe, and casually chops down an entire tree. That's right. This kid has been out here playing lumberjack for fun. They head to the mountains where he normally practices baseball, and Gane is eager to test his golf swing in his usual training spot. There are 2 mountains, one short and one tall. Until now, he's only been able to hit baseballs to the shorter one. But with a golf club in hand, he swings and the ball clears the taller mountain like it's not even there. The sheer power behind his swing is absolutely absurd. He's beyond excited and vows to practice every day until he becomes the best. The lady, still recovering from what she just witnessed, tells him that one day when he's ready, he can come to the city and she'll train him. But for now, he should stay with his grandfather and learn. Gane is not happy about this. Like a desperate child trying to keep his favorite babysitter around, he begs her to stay over at his house for the night. She somehow gives in, and they all gather for dinner. Gane excitedly tells his grandfather that he's ditching baseball and committing to golf instead. He explains his logic. Since golf also involves hitting things, he can still become the best hitter in the world. His grandfather, being the wise old man he is, just nods along and lets him have his moment. Later that night, the lady steps outside to chat with Gawain's grandfather. She's about to tell him about Gawain's insane talent, but before she can, the little gremlin himself comes running out of the house, yapping about golf again. The lady decides to take a bath before bed, and that's when Gane crosses the line into full-blown menace territory. Without an ounce of shame, he asks if he can bathe with her. She shuts that nonsense down immediately. That night, while she's trying to sleep, She wakes up to find Gane creeping over to her bed like some horror movie creature. Instead of being a normal person and going back to sleep, he starts bombarding her with questions about when he can go to the city with her. She tells him he can come when he's in college. Satisfied with this answer, he finally lets her sleep in peace. The next morning, she takes the bus back to the city, leaving Gane to start his training. True to his word, he practices every day. However, his school teacher isn't thrilled about this new obsession. One day she approaches Gawain's grandfather and informs him that Gane is always missing playtime with his friends to play outside. Concerned, his grandfather sets out to find him. He discovers Gane alone in the woods, swinging his club over and over, without a ball. The kid is literally just practicing the motion like a madman. His hands are covered in blisters, but he doesn't care. He's too focused on perfecting his swing. Seeing his grandson's dedication, the old man makes a decision. He tells Gane that if golf is really what he wants, then he shouldn't waste his time stuck in the mountains. If he wants to learn, he should go now. And with that, Gane sets off on his journey to the city. Once he arrives, he's left sitting around, taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. Lancelot steps into the scene, and they both lock eyes. Lancelot the Rizlord, a red-haired menace with an unreadable expression, walked in like he owned the place, his eyes locking onto Gawain's like they were sworn enemies in a past life. Gane, being the tiny goblin that he was, didn't back down, staring right back like this was some dramatic anime rivalry. Lancelot kept walking, but Gawain's barely functioning brain finally clicked when he saw the guy was carrying a golf bag. That was all he needed to see. His whole world narrowed down to one thought. He needed to smack a ball right this second. Without a shred of hesitation, Gane began tailing Lancelot like an overexcited puppy. Lancelot, clearly unimpressed, turned around and asked why this undersized football was following him. Gane ignored the attitude and continued yapping, deducing that Lancelot must be heading to practice and, even better, that Rhea, the lady he had come all this way to see, might be there too. That made everything feel cosmically aligned in his pea-sized mind. Lancelot made it clear he wasn't interested in small talk, but Gane, being the insufferable chatterbox that he was, didn't shut up once. They arrived at the training grounds, and Gane nearly combusted with excitement at the open field. But instead of stopping, Lancelot kept walking, clearly trying to escape. Gane, naturally, continued following like an unshakable parasite. Then, like some divine performance, Lancelot dropped 24 balls and started hitting them one by one. Every single shot was flawless, the ball landing perfectly on the green. The training center fell silent as everyone watched this spectacle. Gane, of course, kept yapping through it all, but his interest wasn't in Lancelot's skill, it was in finding Rhea. After failing to get a response from Lancelot, Gane decided to walk away. But just as he was leaving, a ball landed precisely in front of his feet, stopping him in his tracks. Lancelot, clearly sending a message, continued walking, and Gane resumed following, running his mouth the entire way. By the time they arrived at Rhea's house, Lancelot, clearly fed up, simply pointed to the door, and then vanished into thin air like some anime anti-hero. Inside, Rhea and her sister were in the middle of some bonding time, with the younger sibling putting in actual effort to keep the house lively. Judging from the way she dressed, it was questionable if she did anything useful beyond playing dress-up with dolls. Their moment was interrupted by the doorbell. Rhea answered it and was immediately floored to see Gane standing there like an excited gremlin. Without wasting time, Gane handed her a letter and a check containing an absurd amount of money. The message was clear. She was now responsible for training this little golf-obsessed gremlin. She stared at the check in shock, realizing she was now stuck with this problem. Deciding to get things rolling immediately, she took Gane to the training grounds. The moment they arrived, Gane was ready to start launching balls into orbit. Rhea had to physically stop him, telling him to stretch first. He did, and somehow, this simple act attracted the attention of everyone around. Then came the real madness. Gawain's first shot sent the ball flying 250 miles away. The entire training ground fell into stunned silence, with people murmuring that it had to be a fluke. Gane, ever the chaotic force, swung again, and again the ball soared beyond belief. The tiny minds of the onlookers were officially shattered. That evening, Rhea took Gawain home and introduced him to her sister, the living embodiment of useless furniture. I forgot to mention, but before they had left for the pitch earlier, the little sister had already convinced herself that Rhea had found a boyfriend at the age of 21. If that wasn't peak delusion, then nothing in this world made sense anymore. She was standing there daydreaming about her 6-foot-tall imaginary man. The moment she met Gawain, she immediately started calling him her brother-in-law. Rhea was stunned. Gawain was stunned. Even the universe cringed. The next morning, training resumed. Rhea set the pace, running ahead, while Gawain followed. She told him to keep up, but he casually told her that if she kept running at that speed, she'd lose her breath and pass out. A while later, she proved him right by gasping for air like a dying fish. She tapped out, but Gawain, fueled by his single brain cell determination, kept running. He arrived at the training grounds and stumbled upon a classic bullying scenario. A group of low IQ goons were tormenting a boy. Without hesitation, Gawain swooped in, bullying the bullies in return. Predictably, instead of picking a fight they might actually win, the bullies chose to challenge Gawain to a game, a driving contest, where the longest shot wins. The bullies went first, landing what they thought were decent shots. Then, the bullied kid took his turn and barely sent his ball 50 miles away. Gawain stepped up and obliterated their existence, sending his ball 250 miles into the distance. The bullies were destroyed beyond repair. That's when Lancelot appeared, like some ominous final boss. Without hesitation, he challenged Gawain to a putting contest. He placed Gawain's ball right in front of the green while placing his own much farther away. Gawain went first. It took him 12 painful attempts to sink the ball. Then Lancelot, with the precision of a seasoned assassin, took a single shot and sent his ball straight into the green, proving, once again, that Gawain still had a long way to go. Gawain lost so bad, it looked like the universe personally chose him for humiliation. He walked into the house like a man who had just seen his entire existence flash before his eyes, and waiting for him were Rhea and her delusional sister, who lived for gossip and nonsense. The moment he stepped in, they knew he had taken the biggest L of his life. His eyes screamed failure. His soul was crushed. Without saying a word, he held out his hand like some tragic anime protagonist, asking for her putter and a ball. Rhea was confused because she had never taught him how to putt before, but she handed them over anyway. This clown, this absolute buffoon, took the ball and in pure rage, tried to put it into his own pocket like he was trying to send his dignity straight to the Shadow Realm. He kept attempting it over and over, failing like an NPC programmed to make bad decisions. Rhea, watching him struggle, finally asked what happened, and Gawain spilled his sob story about how Lancelot had humiliated him. She sighed so hard you could feel the disappointment through the screen, and told him she'd train him on how to putt, saving his miserable excuse for a golf game. The next morning, Gawain and Delulu Girl were running to school. She, being the queen of stupid questions, asked why he didn't know the way to school. "Girl, did you forget he just got here? The boy lived in the mountains. He didn't train by reading Google Maps. How is he supposed to know where the school is at? The fact that he even knew what school was should be a blessing." But no, she wanted to act brand new about it. Gawain, ignoring her nonsense, followed her until they reached the school gates. That's when his dumb, overexcited brain made the worst decision of the day. His eyes locked onto Lancelot in class, and without a single thought in his hollow skull, he took off like he was running the 100-meter dash at the Olympics. He sprinted all the way to the classroom, busted the door open like a lunatic, and stomped right up to Lancelot to challenge him. Did he forget he was in school? Did he forget teachers existed? Apparently. The teacher, who had probably seen enough nonsense for the day, just stood there, looking done with life. Before this idiotic challenge, Gawain had a training session with Rhea that was actually useful. She tried to teach him the difference between putting and driving, but this fool had the nerve to make a joke about the 2 balls on the ground looking like testicles. Bro, focus. She put 2 balls down, moving right past that joke, and hit them in different directions to show how putts work. She explained that even the smallest angle shift could make the ball go completely off course. She then placed the balls again and hit them perfectly, showing how proper alignment and balance could make them move smoothly. Gawain, being the meathead he is, wanted to try. She adjusted his stance, and he gave it a go. Of course, the ball went wherever it wanted like it had a mind of its own. He ran to get them and wanted to try again, but this time, Rhea told him to aim for the green. He hyped himself up, hit the ball, and watched in horror as it swerved at the last second, missing the hole entirely. Rhea told him to get down and actually look at the ground. He crouched like some lost animal, and she hit him with a word that had his brain buffering: undulation. This man's 2 brain cells started overheating just trying to process it. She explained that the ball moved because the ground wasn't flat. If it were even, the ball would roll straight in, but since some parts were higher than others, the ball naturally changed course. This was groundbreaking information to Gane, who had apparently never heard of slopes before. She took the putter, played her shot, and compensated for the slope, sinking the ball perfectly into the green. When Gane tried again, he missed. She told him that with practice he'd get better, but we all know she was thinking, this kid is hopeless. Now, imagine for a second that this anime goes full shonen and introduces power-ups where golfers have to see magical lines guiding their shots, and they make impossible trick shots by bending reality. That would be insane, but for now, Gane had to stick to actual practice. Rhea decided to enroll him in a tournament, one that Lancelot would also be in. The moment Gane heard that, he latched onto her like a koala, swearing on his tiny, insignificant life that he would not let Lancelot humiliate him again. To celebrate, Rhea gave him his own golf bag filled with real clubs, making him feel like an actual golfer for once in his life. He was so happy, he almost cried. To test his new skills, they went to a proper golf course. Rhea explained that the course had 18 holes, each with a designated number of strokes. She told him about par 5, which meant he had to finish in 5 strokes or fewer. Gawain's 2 brain cells couldn't handle this much information, and his brain short-circuited, so they just started playing. Now, for those who don't know, golf clubs come in different types: drivers, putters, and irons. The irons are numbered, with higher numbers meaning higher loft angles. If you're close to the green but still need distance, you use a 7-iron before switching to a putter. Gane, of course, had no clue what any of this meant, so he just grabbed the driver and swung with everything he had, sending the ball 300 yards away. He was about to use the driver again like a moron, but Rhea told him to switch clubs. He calculated that he had 100 yards left, grabbed a random iron, swung, and overshot the green entirely. Rhea hit him with the bad news. That was an offense, and he was penalized with an extra stroke. Instead of learning from this, Gane immediately asked her for advice. Another offense, another penalty stroke. This fool had made 2 shots, but thanks to his stupidity, he was already at 4 strokes instead of 2. By the time he made it to the green, he was 1 stroke away from finishing par 5, but his total strokes were already at 6. Congratulations, Gane, you played yourself. While Rhea was busy explaining golf like a responsible adult, we cut to the hospital, where Lancelot's older sister was staying. This was the mysterious friend Rhea mentioned earlier, the one who could supposedly see golden lines guiding the ball to the hole from anywhere on the course. Lancelot visited her with flowers, and apparently, rumors had reached her that Rhea had a boyfriend, an elementary school kid. This entire situation was beyond embarrassing. Also, she was blind, and the surgery she needed only had a 30% success rate. That's rough. Back to the tournament, Gane and Rhea arrived, and someone immediately recognized Rhea, asking why she was at a beginner's tournament when she never attended them. Her answer? My boyfriend is here. Lancelot, Gane, and his new bullied friend were all put into the same group. Gane looked at Lancelot and promised himself that this time he wouldn't lose. The tournament starts batch by batch. First up, the bullies, because of course the universe has to remind us that idiots come in groups. These clowns, who ain't even that good, take their shots and then have the audacity to talk trash about a girl using a 1-iron to start her game. Like, bro, how are you talking down on someone when you just barely managed to keep the ball on the course? Anyway, they move on, and then the bullied boy from earlier steps up. Now, I don't know why, but some of these characters' names refuse to stick in my brain. The kid is shaking like a phone on vibrate mode, looking like he's about to pee himself. Then Gane, the human disaster, cracks a joke about taking a huge dump before coming so he could swing properly. Before he can even finish talking, Rhea materializes out of nowhere and smacks him upside the head. The sound echoes. Everyone laughs. The bullied kid relaxes a little and finally takes his swing. Surprisingly, he actually does pretty well, managing to send the ball a decent distance. Overcome with relief, he runs to Gane and thanks him for his inspirational words. "Bruh, don't thank this fool. If you follow his advice, your brain cells might start applying for early retirement." Then it's Lancelot's turn. You already know he's about to flex. He steps up, swings, and sends the ball flying past the 200-yard mark like it owes him money. Everyone stares, jaws on the floor. But that's nothing compared to what happens next. Gane steps up, still acting like he got main character plot armor. He takes a swing and bam! The ball goes all the way to the green. The guys standing at the green turn their heads in slow motion, watching the ball roll in like the batch 2 are so eager. Meanwhile, they're still behind. The second batch hurries to their next stroke, and the others make it to the green after a second shot. Now, it's time for the putts. The person farthest from the green has to go first, and guess who that is? Gane. This fool crouches down, staring at the grass like he just discovered it exists. He takes his shot, and it misses by an inch. An inch. If disappointment was a person, it would be shaking its head at him right now. Lancelot, watching from the side, is unimpressed. He notices Gane improving, but he still thinks there's no way this goofball is going to surpass him. They continue playing, and Rhea notices something weird. Gane actually learns as he plays. Like, the dude may be an airhead, but when it comes to golf, he's got some kind of freakish talent. They finish the first half and take a break, heading to the lounge for the rankings. The bullies? Yeah, they're way behind. Even the kid they bullied is ahead of them, which is poetic justice if I've ever seen it. Meanwhile, Gane and Lancelot are in the top 3. Now, here comes Delulu Girl, still out here simping for Lancelot like he's the last man on earth. She tries to flirt with him by offering him a drink because apparently hydration is the way to a man's heart. Gane, being the walking menace he is, tries to take a sip too, but she snatches it away. Rhea, being the real MVP, hands Gane some money so he can get his own drink. Not wasting a second, Gane and Lancelot dash to the vending machine because neither of them want to deal with her delusions. While Gane is throwing away his empty can, a girl throws another can over his head. Gane turns around, ready to go off, but then he sees who did it. She looks at him dead in the eye and basically tells him that if she wanted to hit him, she wouldn't miss. Bro, that's a warning shot. Gane better keep his head down before she uses his face for target practice. The second round starts, and Lancelot keeps playing like he's got ice in his veins. Then the girl from earlier pulls off some absolute wizardry. She takes a shot, the ball goes way past the green, but then it rolls back like it changed its mind. The spin. Everyone is stunned, including Gane, who is staring like he just saw a ghost. Then Gane steps up and absolutely butchers his shot. Ball goes straight into the pond. A waste of oxygen, an embarrassment to all golfers. He put so much force into it for no reason. The way he's playing, you'd think the goal is to get the ball into water hazards. Everyone else makes their putts and moves on, but Gane is standing there like he just questioned his whole life's purpose. As they get to the next round, the weather starts acting up. Dark clouds, strong winds, perfect conditions to see who's really got skills. Lancelot handles it like a pro, landing his shot smoothly. The girl? Not so much. She sends her ball straight into a bush. Gane? Oh, he outdoes himself. His ball lands deep in the woods, so deep he might need a map to find it. Everyone helps look for the girl's ball first. When they finally find it, she decides to call it unplayable, takes a penalty, and repositions it. Smart move. Then they go to Gawain's ball, and it looks like it's in the worst possible spot. Even the trees are looking down at him like, "You really thought you could play golf?" But Gane, for once in his life, doesn't act dumb. He carefully assesses the situation and somehow pulls off a miracle shot, sending the ball straight onto the green. The girl is actually impressed. Even I have to give him some credit. But let's be real, it was plot armor at work. That night, they all rest up and Lancelot does something unexpected. He tells Gane that he takes back what he said about him never becoming a pro. This is a big deal because Lancelot doesn't hand out compliments. Gane, instead of taking the win like a normal person, starts crying. He's out here looking up at the sky, talking about how he doesn't understand why Lancelot's ball didn't waver in the rain. Lancelot tells him it's because he's trained in all conditions, rain, sun, wind, you name it. Gane, ever the dramatic idiot, suddenly gets fired up. He vows to train even harder. Then, just when you think things can't get weirder, a random man in a robe jumps out of nowhere. Like, bro, what? He says he wants to talk to them, and then Rhea shows up with her sister, who is still furniture-level useless in this story. The man dramatically removes his robe and introduces himself as Merlin Albright. First of all, that name sounds like a medieval magician who got lost in the wrong anime. Second, he is apparently a legendary golf coach who runs Camelot Academy. Yes, Camelot. Because if the Arthurian references weren't obvious enough, they had to hit us over the head with it. Turns out, this guy has been watching the whole tournament, and he wants Gawain and Lancelot to join his academy. Lancelot and Rhea are standing at the gates of Camelot Academy, looking like they just stepped into a fancy golf Hogwarts. Of course, the moment is ruined instantly, because Mr. Goofy Gremlin himself, Gawain, pulls out a fake mustache like he's auditioning for Dollar Store Detective Pikachu. He starts making jokes about the school's vibe, like he's the first broke student to ever touch elite soil. Before he can embarrass himself even further, a woman walks out the building. She's tall, icy, and probably smells like expensive perfume and disappointment. Her name? Arya, and just Gawain's luck, it sounds kind of like Rhea. So this dude, who's built like a walking misunderstanding, instantly gets hard eyes like he just met Beyoncé with a golf bag. He practically launches himself onto campus like a cracked-out golden retriever chasing a squirrel. Rhea, still recovering from the whiplash of being ditched, starts yelling at Arya, but Arya ignores her like a pop-up ad. Rhea is boiling, but she's powerless. The only visiting day is next month, and her boyfriend is already halfway down the simp rabbit hole for a woman who hasn't even looked at him twice. But Rhea's brain suddenly coughs up a memory. Arya sounds familiar. Suspiciously familiar. Arya takes Gawain to his new class, which looks like a random gathering of kids who either failed PE or were too good for it. There's about 7 of them, and they all got that anime. We all have unique hairstyles, so you know we're important energy. Then we meet Riser. This crusty old-looking teenager is probably 15, but built like he fought in Nam. He's already plotting to find some poor fool to boss around like a prison warden. The moment Arya walks in with Gawain, this man's whole soul deflates. Instead of a minion, he got a bug-eyed gumdrop with noodle arms. Gawain introduces himself and says he wants to be the world's best golfer. Everyone in class smiles politely like they're watching a toddler say he wants to be Batman. Except Riser. Riser sees this talking fruit snack and instantly starts roasting him. He says Gawain's body is too small and fragile for anything other than being a golf ball. Gawain, because he's got the self-awareness of a brick, only hears one phrase, "Try your best," and latches onto it like it's scripture. Bro could get insulted into a coma and still hear compliments. After class, Gawain hangs out with that girl from the tournament, and she tells him Riser's trash talk was out of pocket. Gawain, being the clown prince of cluelessness, just shrugs and says he'll try his best. Again, like a broken motivational speaker. They walk into the cafeteria where Riser is still talking nonsense about Gawain, and Gawain tries to be cool and says he meant what he said. He's gonna be the best. Riser throws shade again, calling him little, and this time Gawain tries clapping back, but it lands like a wet sock. Then a random pink-haired girl with way too much time on her hands suggests they settle it with a match. Of course, both these idiots say yes instantly, like they're fighting for custody of a lunch tray. Meanwhile, the girl with Gawain is furious about the dumb idea and goes to confront the pink-haired instigator, and boom, she slaps her. Not even a warning, just full contact. The pink-haired girl slaps her back like she's been waiting for that moment her whole life. It almost turns into WrestleMania, Golf Edition, but the guys pull them apart before someone starts swinging golf clubs like baseball bats. At the pitch, it's time to drive. Riser steps up and smashes the ball 310 yards like a beast. Gawain is actually impressed for once because this is the first person who's matched him. Then it's Gawain's turn, and somehow this human-sized mistake manages to hit the ball 330 yards. You'd think the anime gods would give him a break, but no, he's just got that dumb protagonist luck. Gawain's all giddy, wanting to keep playing, but Riser tries to dip like a sore loser. Gawain asks why he even plays the game, and Riser, sounding like every boring business bro, says it's for the fame and the money. Gane responds with his usual brand of brain-dead honesty. He plays because he loves the game. This somehow melts the stone that is Riser's face and gets a smile out of him. They both run back to class like two idiots late for detention, and since they're 5 minutes late, they get slapped with a penalty. That night, Gane sits in bed thinking about his grandpa and Rhea, like some broke Romeo who got rejected by Juliet and still thinks he has a chance. Next morning, he wakes up to pee, because of course, even his bladder has no sense of timing, and finds Liebel practicing outside. Liebel is smooth, controlled, clearly a real athlete. Gane watches like a weirdo peeping through blinds and then runs outside to join. Liebel teaches him a simple move, but surprise, surprise, Gane can't do it. His grip strength is on par with soggy bread. They go running together, and Gane, somehow, turns into Sonic and leaves Liebel in the dust. Then it's breakfast time, and Gane eats like Goku at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Plates everywhere, food flying, like he's got a black hole in his stomach. After that, everyone gears up for practice. But surprise, Gawain's new friend is missing. He and Liebel go hunting for her and find her hanging off the side of the building like she's trying out for Spider-Man. She was practicing with a broom and a soda can, and now she's stuck. Classic dumb anime logic. Gane climbs up a pipe like he's in Donkey Kong, and Liebel goes through a window. Just as she's about to fall, Gane grabs her one-handed. Liebel's shocked, not because Gane helped, but because the other hand that was gripping the pipe had squeezed it like it was Play-Doh. They save her, but as usual, Gawain's luck runs out, and the pipe snaps. He somehow flips down from the 3rd floor, like he's a gymnast at the Olympics, and lands safely. Everyone's like, dang, okay, maybe he's not a total waste of carbon. Practice gets cancelled, and instead they're forced to repair all the mess. You'd think that was the end, but nope. The students gather up and basically tell Gawain he can't train with them yet. Gane, being stubborn like a mule on steroids, refuses to accept that. He goes to beg Riser to train him. Riser flicks his arm by accident, and Gane gets launched into a wall like a volleyball. This man is made of rubber bands and delusion. Liebel suggests they go ask Arya. Arya, because she's still emotionally frozen, says no. But they beg like two kids who just broke the TV. She finally agrees, but on one condition: they'll have a match. If Gane can beat or even tie with Liebel, then he's allowed to train with them. Gane is thrilled like someone just told him Santa's real. But Liebel? He's just silently praying for strength not to punt this little hobbit into next week. The episode ends right there, with Gane hyped for his next dumb decision, completely unaware that the next match might be the moment he finally realizes just how average he really is. We see the human bowling pin Gawain running around like he just won the lottery. He tells everybody in that dusty school that he's going to compete against Liebel on the Level D course. Of course, this dingbat don't even know what a Level D course is. Man really be signing up for things like a toddler clicking random buttons on a video game. Everyone just stares at him like he got a spoon stuck in his ear. Then they school his goofy self real quick. Apparently, this school got 18 greens total, split into 4 categories. Course A got 6 greens, Course B and Course C got 6 each too. That's 18 in total. But Course D? That's the training wheels level. Only 3 greens. All Gawain gotta do is win, or at least tie on one of them. Just one. That's all. But when you're built like a wet sock full of regret, even that's asking a lot. Then comes the real twist. Liebel, the poor soul Gawain is going up against, is the only grade A student in their dusty little class. He's supposed to be the golden child, the chosen one, the pride of Camelot Academy. Riser's a grade C with the attitude of a broken lawn chair, and the pink-haired girl is grade B with hands faster than Goku at a buffet. But Liebel, he ain't never won a single tournament since he showed up. Not one. He been taking L's like it's his major. Cut to Liebel looking like he just got evicted from his own life. This man sitting alone like he just remembered he left the stove on 2 years ago. Arya pops up, calm as ever, and asks him why his face looked like a sad ironing board. She tells him, real chill-like, that if he takes it easy on Gawain, it'll hurt his grades. She don't say it like a threat, but it's giving serious, break his spirit or I'll break yours energy. Liebel swallows that info like expired milk. Next scene, we on the field. It's just Gawain, Liebel, and Arya, watching like the elegant referee she is. Since only the competitors and staff can be on the field, the rest of the class missed out on watching Gane embarrass himself live. They do the draw, and of course Gane comes second. Always second. Story of his life. They head to the first green. Liebel hits a 200-yard shot like he got GPS in his golf ball. Gane, full of false hope and too much protein, smacks a 300-yard shot like a gorilla that don't know where it's aiming. Everybody was impressed, until Gane gets to the hole. He just a few centimeters away but still takes 4 strokes to get it in. 4. Man's got the touch of a drunken penguin. Meanwhile, Liebel 2 strokes that thing like a pro. Second green comes up and this one's got a massive tree smack in the middle like nature decided to be petty. Liebel takes a fake-looking shot and lands the ball under the tree on purpose. Gane, to his credit, sees something fishy but doesn't say anything because his brain is working on dial-up speed. Then Gane, doing his usual over-the-top stuff, sends the ball flying over the whole field like he's trying to reach another time zone. Second shot puts it near the green. Now both of them are on the green. Gane, fumbling around like usual, takes 2 or 3 more strokes, but Liebel, this shady noodle, tries to cheat again. He makes another fake shot, but karma has hands today. An unexpected bump in the ground lifts his ball up and messes up the whole trick. The way he reacts makes it obvious. It was a scam from the start. Gane, being Gane, doesn't hold back this time. He walks right up and gives Liebel a friendly punch, not out of rage but like a wake-up call. The boy needed it. Then Liebel, looking like he's about to cry in 6 different languages, tells his little sob story. Turns out, his grandma used to love watching him play golf. One day, he cheated in a game and won, but she was disappointed. So ever since, he has been subconsciously throwing games to punish himself. Boy really turned grandma's disapproval into a full-blown career in losing. Gane, even though his brain runs on leftover Cheeto dust, gives Liebel a few words that somehow manage to inspire him. It's like a raccoon giving a TED Talk. But it works. Liebel decides to stop being a self-sabotaging idiot and play for real. They get to the third and final green. This one's got a pond sitting in the middle, looking like it's waiting to ruin someone's day. Liebel finally plays like someone who's got actual skill and shoots clean over the pond, landing near the hole like a real champ. But Gane? They don't even show us his full performance, which tells you everything you need to know. Man probably sent the ball into orbit, hit a duck, and made a squirrel cry. Next scene, Gane walking back, looking like the last slice of bread in a moldy bag. His classmates ask him how it went, and he says what we all guessed. He lost. That means this dummy is back to trials for 6 whole months. 6 months of watching others do what he can't. Honestly, it's probably what he needs, but you can't help but feel bad for the struggle. Arya, being the ice queen she is, tells him he might not have to wait 6 months. If he gets better and shows real improvement, he could come back early. So there's hope for our tiny, clueless, golf-loving failure. There is a major announcement. The Camelot Cup is coming up, and the whole school is in a frenzy. Everyone is talking about it like it's the end of the world, but Gawain's just standing there like, "What's all the hype about?" he asks, and the teacher tells him that it's a huge deal. It's not just the school's tournament. Nah, it's a 3-nation competition between the US, Japan, and some other place that nobody remembers. Next week, the tryouts start, and the tension is thicker than the fog on a swamp. Gane, the guy who barely understands what's going on, is like, "Wait, so if I get in, I get to play in this big tournament?" "Yeah, buddy, but first you need to actually make it through tryouts. Good luck, you'll need it." The group heads to the practice field to work on their distance shots. Gawain's out here like it's no big deal, casually trying to hit a golf ball to the moon or something. Some older students are watching him like hawks, and I mean, who could blame them? Gawain's got that clueless charm, like a puppy trying to catch a squirrel that's already halfway up a tree. They start plotting to take Gane down. Seriously, what's with all the hate? Just let the guy be. Next thing you know, Gawain's following a guy with an umbrella on his head. Yes, an umbrella on his head, like he's a walking weather report, into the woods. They get to a secret underground room, and bam! It's a trap. Gawain's locked in, and it's starting to look like the worst episode of Criminal Minds ever. But you know what they say, when life gives you a trap, call Liebel and Reiser. These two are out here looking for Gane and quickly run into some other students trying to stop them. But hold up, these two students are just standing there, holding up their arms like they're waiting for a slow dance at prom. Come on, do something already. Now, let's not forget the ladies. Two girls find out Gawain's in trouble, and they waste no time, slapping the sense out of each other like it's their job. You'd think they were auditioning for a reality TV show, but in the end, the girls somehow figure things out and take care of their own mess. Kudos, I guess. Back to Gawain though. He's starting to lose hope, and it's looking like he's about to start singing "I Will Survive" in that underground room. Just as things seem grim, someone shows up and punches the door with some seriously questionable martial arts skills. The door breaks open, and Gawain saved. No thanks to his decision-making skills, but at least he's out. After that little adventure, Gawain goes straight back to the practice field. He's probably feeling like a hero now, right? He starts swinging his club, and suddenly, Arya and another student show up, watching with their mouths hanging open. Gawain's shot looks like it could win an Oscar for Best Unlikely Hero. They call his swing the Shooting Star Rising Impact. Is it a cool name? Sure, but it sounds like something you'd hear in a really bad anime. But hey, Gawain's getting the attention, and he's loving every second of it. But not everyone's impressed. An older student steps up to Gawain, trying to teach him a lesson. You can't just rely on your driving skills, they say. Oh really? Gawain looks at him like, I'm just out here doing my thing, okay? He's not listening to anyone at this point, and honestly, I don't blame him. Who needs advice when you're out here being a living legend, right? After the tryouts, some seniors are sitting around, looking all smug and full of themselves. They've decided Gawain's a threat, and they need to knock him down a few pegs. So what do? They start plotting. These guys need a hobby, seriously. But back to Gawain, who's too busy being Gawain to realize what's going on. The seniors decide to play dirty, again, just when they think they've got him where they want him. Meanwhile, Lancelot, yep, that guy, decides to check in with his sister Rhea. Of course, she's there looking all glamorous as usual. They all decide to try out for the drive test, but Gawain's nowhere in sight. They probably think he's too busy goofing off somewhere, but they'll see soon enough. The seniors go first, and they don't exactly blow anyone away. The first guy barely hits 300 yards, which is like getting a participation trophy. But then it's Liebel's turn, and he knocks it out of the park with 320 yards. Everyone's watching, getting all hyped up, but just when the next guy's about to take his swing, guess who runs onto the field like he's chasing the ice cream truck? Gawain. Yeah, he's back, and he's ready to make everyone look like they're playing mini golf. Gawain steps up to the tee like he owns the place. Arya and the other students watch him, amazed. They start calling it the Shooting Star Rising Impact again, and Gawain's all proud like he's just scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. But here's the kicker. One of the seniors steps up and tries to give Gawain some advice that sounds more like a "don't get cocky kid" kind of moment. Yeah, Gawain's still out here living his best life, and it's clear that these seniors are rattled. But hey, Gawain isn't about to let anyone ruin his fun. He's got that "I'm doing this for the love of the game" attitude. Good luck to the rest of them. As the day winds down, the seniors aren't just gonna let it slide. Nope, they're planning something. They've got it all figured out. They want to humiliate Gawain, show him who's boss. We'll have to see if that backfires on them. Knowing Gawain, it probably will. The tryouts for the Camelot Championship are finally happening, and the air is thicker than Gawain's skull. Everyone lines up like it's the Hunger Games of golf, but with more grass and fewer arrows. Gawain, with his usual confused excitement, ends up in a group with two serious contenders. First, there's Toduin, also known as Toto, a guy who stares at the wind like it's whispering life secrets to him. Then there's Wanglian, or just Leon, the cool-headed pro who curves his golf balls like he's been playing since birth. Basically, Gawain just landed in the worst possible party, and the party has zero snacks. The course is introduced with zero mercy. The first green is a 540-yard spiral monstrosity that looks like it was designed by someone who hates golfers. They draw lots to see who goes first, and by some freak of nature, Gawain is up first. This is the first time in his sad little life he gets to start, and of course, he messes it up instantly. He swings for the heavens with a straight shot because he can't curve to save his life. The ball flies with confidence, straight into a tree, and then, like the universe itself is trolling him, it bounces back in a direction that makes zero sense. The crowd gasps, and Gawain stands there blinking like a broken NPC. Leon steps up next and delivers a chef's kiss of a shot. He curves the ball around the spiral like he's bending the laws of physics for fun. Gawaine's eyes nearly pop out as he watches this pure sorcery unfold. Todo, the Wind Whisperer, closes his eyes like he's communing with the elements, then launches his ball with the help of absolutely no magic, just an obsessive understanding of wind pressure. Or at least, that's what he claims. Gane still thinks he's hiding powers. Now it's time for the second stroke. Gane stumbles through the rough like a lost goat and finds his ball teetering on the edge of a pit. Anyone with sense would cry, but Gane isn't anyone. He plants his feet like a hero about to dive into war, then swings with all the grace of a falling refrigerator. Shockingly, the ball bursts out like it's been shot from a cannon. Leon and Todo stare in awe, mostly because that shot shouldn't have been physically possible. But hey, when you're powered by dumb determination and sheer accident, anything is possible. They all move forward with their second shots. Leon curves it like he's drawing calligraphy. Todo reads the breeze and flicks his wrist like a magician. Gane, unfortunately, is up again for the next cursed challenge. A 40-meter pond lies between him and the green. He readies his club, full of false confidence, takes a mighty swing and, bonk, hits a tree behind him. Because of course he does, but in a twist so anime it hurts. The ball skips across the water like a rock tossed by a child with way too much time. It lands beautifully on the other side. Even the crows are shook. They all putt next, one clean shot each, except Todo, who for once is humbled and takes two. Gane feels like a king, even though he has no idea what he's doing. They move on to the next nightmare course. This one's haunted. Not metaphorically. Actually haunted. There are 3 paths: left, right, and center. Like a bad RPG decision screen. Gane, brave or just stupid, picks the center and fires his ball dead straight into the unknown. Leon picks the right, Todo goes left. Leon ends up in a forest of tall grass. It looks like a golf horror story, but he doesn't even flinch. He flicks the ball out like it's no big deal. Meanwhile, Todo finds himself face to face with his soulmate, the wind. He spends more time reading the breeze than actually swinging. It pays off though. The ball cuts through like a blade. Now cut to Gane, who is knee-deep in mud. His ball is stuck in the grossest pit of despair, and a small mountain rises in front of him like a middle finger from nature. He tries swinging, but just falls flat like a potato. He removes his shoes like this is somehow going to help and gives it one last go. The ball shoots out, smacks the cliff like it's mad at it, and crumbles part of it down. Suddenly, the flag becomes visible through the dust and drama. The sun is blinding, but Gane, sweaty and shoeless, points to it like he's in a movie. He hits the ball with all the force of his embarrassing soul, puts his shoes back on mid-run, and dashes like a man possessed. He arrives at the flag expecting another problem, but no, the ball went straight into the hole. The silence that follows is so intense you could hear a grasshopper faint. Todo and Leon both stare at Gane like he's some kind of glitch in the simulation. We see the tryouts still dragging their feet like an old man in flip-flops. Everyone's sweating golf balls, but the moment the door creaks open and Lancelot walks in with Arya and his sister, who still looks like she was built in a kitchen appliance factory, the mood changes. Without saying a word, Lancelot vanishes like a ninja with anxiety, and the next time we see him, he's creeping around looking for Gane like a bloodhound with a diploma. Meanwhile, the girls are up at a course that looks like it was carved out by the Northern Water Tribe itself. It's cold, shiny, and dramatic for no reason. They each line up their shots, pretending they've trained for this moment their entire lives. The first girl steps up, channels her inner golf goddess, swings, and the ball rolls beautifully. She almost looks like a pro, but she forgets one tiny detail: a dirty, crusty rake sitting on the field like it owns the place. The ball hits it, changes direction, and ruins her life. The other girls see this and pretend they've got it all figured out. Instead of showing off, they play it safe like cowards at a haunted house. But they've got tricks up their sleeves. The second girl plays her turn. Her trick, once she's within 30 meters of the hole, she never misses. And just like that, she nails it. The third girl takes her shot, and her skill is even weirder. She sees glowing lines like some ghost came down and started scribbling cheat codes on the grass. Her ball rolls perfectly like it's magnetized. They're feeling good now, like anime characters before a power-up. Over on the guys' side, They're pretending to discuss strategies like they're generals in a war room. Suddenly, Lancelot pops out of thin air, and Gawain tells the others that this is the same Lancelot they've been hearing legends about, the guy who could outgolf a tiger on a skateboard. Back on the girls' side, that first girl who messed up with the rake tries again, but this time she doesn't even hit the ball. Her club whooshes through the air like a samurai movie, but the ball just sits there like, nah. Complete disgrace. Lancelot, who clearly only came here to boost his ego and make Gawain feel like trash, tells Gawain that today is not about golf, it's about greetings. The rest of the guys head to the next field, which is a monstrous 500-yard stretch that looks like it was designed by someone who hates fun. Todo, who hasn't gotten over the fact that he's not the star of this show, hears people talking about Lancelot being the best. His ego cracks. Fueled by rage and protein powder, he hits a shot so strong that it flies over 400 yards like a rocket. Leon follows and hits over 300. Gawain, being the dumb rubber band brain he is, manages to keep up somehow. All of them make it to the green, putt a few times, and move to the convening area for results. But drama is always late to the party. When they all gather, they find out someone's golf clubs have been snapped in half like uncooked spaghetti. Nobody knows who did it, but Gawain, being a genius with no brain cells, thinks this is the perfect moment to introduce Lancelot like he's a celebrity at a funeral. The crowd reacts like someone just farted in church. Everyone hates this guy. Apparently, he's got more beef than a barbecue grill. Tension rises. The contestants are called for a meeting, and everyone starts moving like they've got ants in their pants. Everyone except for two unlucky souls who don't advance. Their hearts break like glass in slow motion, but whatever. Because Gawain makes it through, and that's who this dumb show is following. Lancelot, now sitting alone like he's the main character in a sad piano anime ending, gets challenged by a random girl to a putting game. He agrees, probably because his ego needs a massage. Back at Gawain's dorm, Rhea and her robotic little sister are waiting. The sister is crying like someone stole her candy, wailing that Lancelot hasn't come back yet. Gawain, who's got less patience than a wet cat, tells her to shut it. He says Lancelot's probably out chasing birds or whatever knights do. Then Gawain gets a call from his grandpa, and he walks out to take it. The call doesn't go well, because he ends up crying like a sad vegetable. Meanwhile, back at the course, the girl who challenged Lancelot gets absolutely embarrassed. She plays like her arms forgot how to work. Lancelot doesn't even break a sweat. He beats her like a boss battle on easy mode. Eventually, the whole gang regroups. Lancelot, Gawain, Arya, and the rest head home. But before they leave, someone tells Gawain the same thing every side character in every sports anime says: win. Win for yourself, win for your friends, win because there's literally nothing else to do in this plot. Gawain woke up the next morning like he was the main character in a commercial. He opened his window and screamed into the sun like a man who just learned what golf is. Today was the day he'd crush the tryout. It was time for the final showdown, and they were going to play at Camelot Fortress. The place was scary, like some medieval dungeon that accidentally had a golf course built in it. Everyone was tense because they were not only playing hard, but there was also a cheating gremlin named the Cheater on the enemy team. That guy had more slime in his heart than brains in his skull. Gawain's team was solid though. Riser was in too. He was sweating so bad it looked like he had just fought a ghost. The order of play was simple. Riser first, the slime ball, the Cheater second, and Gawain last. Riser stepped up, took a deep breath, and immediately lost the plot. He hit the ball so hard it bounced off a giant tree like a boomerang. Everyone stood still. The tree probably felt disrespected. The Cheater stepped up next, holding an iron club like he invented golf. He hit the ball perfectly through the trees like some forest magician. Gawain, who probably forgot this was serious, grabbed a driver and launched the ball straight through the trees like they weren't even real. The ball screamed through the sky, and they all moved to the next spot. Now the real mess started. Gawain's ball, because of how hard he hit it, rolled way too far and fell off the cliff. It landed inside a tiny pond at the bottom like it was taking a nap. The other two balls landed just fine. The Cheater walked up, swung clean, and made it to the next area. Riser, who was still recovering from the tree incident, managed to get a clean shot this time. Gawain was stuck. Everyone told him to take a foul and place the ball outside the water, but no. Gane, the king of dumb decisions, said he'd shoot it from inside the water. He walked into that pond like a warrior from an underpaid anime. The water splashed, mud flew, and Gane swung with all the dignity of a soaked cat. And guess what? It actually worked. The ball flew 200 yards out like it was running from Rent. Now all three rushed to the next area to find their balls. But this is where the cheater decided to turn full villain. He got there first and saw that both his and Riser's balls were stuck in the sand. Instead of playing fair, he picked his own ball out of the bunker and left Riser's there like trash. When Riser arrived, he didn't notice the cheating and took his shot from the sand like a normal person. The cheater took his shot too and acted like nothing happened. When it was Gawain's turn, the cheater decided to be extra slimy. He walked over and said Gawain's club was dirty, but he was really smearing something disgusting on it, some kind of slime. Gane didn't see it. He just took his swing and the ball rolled off badly, bouncing its way down the edge of a cliff like it was drunk. But here's the funny thing. Nature hates cheaters. The golf gods weren't going to let this slime ball win. The cheater took another shot toward the green, but once the ball got close, a huge gust of wind slapped it away. Everyone gasped. He tried again. Same thing. The wind was playing defense now. It became a game of fetch, but the wind was the dog, and it hated him. He tried over and over again, 12 times. And then, boom, he was disqualified for excessive cheating and being a useless gremlin. Once they announced his disqualification, the cheater did what every coward does. He ran away screaming like a baby with no diaper. Good riddance. Now it was just Riser and Gawain left. A true bro battle. Riser stepped up first. He took the shot, probably praying in 6 different languages. The ball flew high, too high. It looked like it would overshoot the green, but boom. It smacked the flagpole and dropped down like a lazy pigeon. The crowd almost fainted. That was Riser's first lucky shot in his entire cursed life. Then Gawain stepped up. He remembered what Lancelot told him about staying calm during pressure. Something about breathing, balance, and not acting like a cracked potato. Gawain focused, aimed, and swung. His ball hit the green, landed just right, and began to roll like it was on autopilot. They both ran to the green like anime rivals. They saw their balls. Riser's was sitting right on the upper side of the slope, a perfect putt if nerves didn't exist. Gawain's ball was farther, near the edge, but still on the green. Riser went first. Everyone held their breath. He aimed, took the shot, and missed. The ball curved away like it didn't want to be seen with him. Riser looked like he was about to cry, but held it in like a tough potato. Then Gawain stepped up. This was it. One shot. He remembered Lancelot again, and how to keep his hand steady and his mind blank, basically what he does all the time. He swung. The ball rolled smooth, confident, and slow. It curved right into the hole like the scene was scripted. He did it. He actually did it. Riser walked over, shook him, and told him to win the Camelot Cup by all means. Remember the cheater guy? He was walking down the hall and screaming about all his cheating achievements in agony. The 2 people he cheated heard, and they were about to beat him to a pulp before the other guys walked in and saved their lives. Apparently, those guys were making him polish their clubs every day for all these years because he used connections to get into the school with no skill. His puny little behind was saved by the others. While everyone was training here and there, a coach came in as a normal guy. He met Gawain first, and Gawain greeted and showed him the way to the school. They encountered to-do training, and the old man didn't hold back his words. He immediately told him about how to adjust his stance. But to-do, being the goat he is, immediately turned down the advice and told the man to go rot somewhere in hell. The man and Gawain move along and they come across Arya. Arya was ready to ninja chop him off the school grounds, but then he showed them his ID, and they recognized him as one of the biggest golf players of his time. Apparently, he was sent here to coach them, and that's what he came to do. The next thing we saw was everybody holding umbrellas. The man wanted to test their abilities. Gawain wanted to take the first swing, but he was stopped, and To-Do took the first swing and swung crap. Then the rest and everyone did one nonsense or the other. Gawain, though, he did consent too, but at least he hit the ball. There was a target that no one hit except the man who brought up the challenge. It rolls into a montage of training, and he notices something about Gawain, his shooting style. They tell him that Gawain is a big man with a big swing that they called the Rising Impact. He tests it one more time when he tells Gawain to shoot with him afterwards, and he realizes that Gawain's mistake is that when he wants to hit the ball, he thinks only about hitting it to the fairest distance at all times. If he can change that, he'll be a great man. Someone where Lancelot and his sister already had the eye surgery done. Then it was time to unveil her green eyes from the wrap. They unwrap her and tell her to open her eyes slowly. She opens it and she sees her brother. They guy and she cries. Then Lancelot says something about going to Camelot. Yes, he's ready to go to Camelot Academy because apparently everyone in his school can't beat him, so they've all decided to bow their heads, and he is minions and he'd rather prefer to be rivaled. Everyone keeps practicing, especially mine. There's a concept called the Shining Road. It leads to the ultimate put. Lancelot can see the shining road, mine can see a road, but there's nothing shining about it. The next thing we see are the students of Camelot Academy having a meeting. Arya announces a newcomer and everyone was shocked about who it would be. Lancelot walks in. Gawain does golf back. He runs to his friend and welcomes him. Lancelot tells him how jealous he is of Gawain, and then he goes ahead to insult everyone on the table. He asked if any of them was willing to let go of their spot for the Camelot Championship. Everyone went on a rage and told him to shut down his crap except mine, who felt embarrassed the last time he came, and she challenged him, only to lose like a hypocrite. Now she's been training morning and night. She sees a better road, but it's not shining. She takes the challenge and everyone steps out to watch them play. They started playing one after the other. For 500 strokes, no one missed until mine had lost energy, and she missed the ball, and it went awry. This time she missed and Lancelot did not. She admits defeat and Lancelot told her it's not sheer luck. He's been practicing 1,000 putts for a while. 500 was nothing. They both have blisters on their hands. Back in Gawain's room, he packed his bags to go, and he stuffed something in a jar. Lancelot was there, and he asked what it was. It was a jar of grasshoppers. Gawain goes ahead to torment and torture Lancelot with it. Then Lionel walks in and he makes friends with Lancelot. He also was tortured by the grasshopper jar. That night, everyone that was going packed and prepped their minds. At the airport the next day, Gawain says goodbye to his good friend Riser, who's crying like a little baby. Mine tells her goodbyes and tells him to win like they're lovers. Gawain starts looking around like he forgot something. Then Rhea runs into her furniture of a sister. They bid them farewell and the best of luck. Rhea came with a little surprise for Gawain, his grandpa. Gawain runs over and plumps onto his grandpa. They have a moment and the Camelot students, Japan representatives, get on the plane and fly away. They arrived and a bus took them to the school grounds. Everyone settled in except for that goody two-shoes who grew up in the mountains. He saw hills, and the next thing was to explore them. He met a few foreign guys practicing, and he said he wanted to practice too, but they shut him down. Then one guy with white hair took a challenge, and it was on.